AI isn't going to replace leaders, but it will expose bad leadership fast. AI is everywhere right now, but most leaders don't know how to use it without damaging trust, culture, or our team performance. I've worked with leaders building high performance teams where people actually want to stay, and I've seen how AI can either strengthen the team or quietly destroy it. So, in this episode, I'm going to show you exactly how effective leaders use AI to build high performance teams without losing culture, what mistakes to avoid, and how to use AI in a way that makes you better as a leader, not a replaceable one. Welcome to the Leaders Leading Leaders podcast. I am your host, John Espinosa. If your goal is to build high performance teams that want to stay, I'm going to use my 20 years of leadership experience to share what I've learned. Let's get into the episode today. I'm super excited to talk about the strategies in today's episode because the real problem that we face as leaders, as team leads, as managers is, leaders, we feel the pressure to use AI, but we fear losing that human connection. One thing that I hear a lot from young leaders is they use AI quite a bit. The human connection piece is something that comes later. For those seasoned leaders out there, that human connection piece may have already been developed. And so bringing in AI, there's that fear of, man, how is this going to replace? Or if I use it, I'm replacing judgment with automation. And a lot of that intuition, that feeling that we make as we become seasoned leaders in organizations, that feeling, we got to trust it. The other thing that people fear is that we damage morale. When leaders feel the pressure to use AI, but they're worried that it will damage morale, AI never makes it into the processes and the systems. AI isn't the problem. It's the misuse of AI or the stories that we tell ourselves to prevent us from using it. So what high performance teams actually need, they need clarity, they need trust. We need consistent communication across the organization. And I'm talking from top down to bottom up. We need that psychological safety to exist in our teams. And last, we need alignment and focused execution. So let me show you where AI actually helps with these and where it doesn't. When I was journaling for today and I was going through those those are my 5 qualities of high performance teams, I got to thinking, okay, John, I don't really want to talk about specific tools. I'm going to talk about processes. So these case studies, 3 case studies that I came up with, each one of these will give you value. And the first one, a lot of what we do as leaders is coaching and feedback. So as we develop others through coaching or mentoring, we provide feedback. AI can help us think better and not avoid those conversations. A lot of young leaders out there, as we get into leadership, as we get into that first role that we're leading others, whether it's a project or it's a program or it's a large team or a big organization as a frontline, mid-level, or senior manager, a lot of times what happens is we're fearful of having coaching conversations or giving feedback. And so what happens? We bury our head in the sand, or we tell ourselves the problem will go away. It'll solve itself. It never does. It only gets worse. And so this is where AI can help. AI can help you as a leader think better. I have conversations with AI, and a lot of those conversations, AI is really functioning as my thought partner. So I use the microphone feature. I'm not a very fast typer. If you're a fast typer, that'll work for you. But I will have a conversation. Hey, I have an employee X who they're not doing well either in communicating with the client. Every time they send something out to the client, it's vague. We get a lot of questions back. They're coming to me and bypassing the system. the employee, they seem to think they're doing really well. What are maybe some tips that I can give them to start the conversation and then provide that actionable feedback? And we'll go back and forth. AI will spit something out. They'll come up with some points. I'll even tell it, hey, do it in a 30-minute conversation format where I want, the top 3 things or top 3 suggestions and 1 recommendation, whatever that looks like. However, you're used to providing that coaching or feedback, or if you're a novice to this, using best coaching criteria or best practices, right? Or using the best practices of how to give feedback effectively for a new manager to maybe a seasoned employee or a new employee. Those are examples of where I use AI as a thought partner to give me information to start that conversation. There's nothing worse than just walking into a conversation cold and then it really getting worse. The situation can get worse because you walk away and you think you did a good job communicating, but the employee that was getting feedback or being coached, they're like, man, I think I'm doing a great job, right? So there's that miscommunication there that can happen. In this case, better coaching and feedback is one example of where I use AI. Just a quick pause in our episode. This might be exactly what you need to hear. If you're currently leading a team or you want to lead a team and you're spending your days putting out fires, you're not failing, you're just stuck. Because when everything feels urgent, nothing actually improves. And over time, that starts to chip away at our confidence as a leader. I've led teams under pressure for years, and firefighting isn't about effort, it's about those missing leadership systems. When expectations are clear and ownership is real, our teams, they stop reacting and they start solving problems without us. So if you're ready to lead instead of react, click on the link below, book a call, check out our consulting programs. All right, back to the episode. The second example or use case here is clear communication at scale. And a lot of this has to do with aligning messages, not replacing the leadership voice. So I will start a project in, say, ChatGPT, and within that project, you can give it context. So I might align, or I might name the project aligning messages throughout the organization, and maybe give it even a topic. So change management, we're getting ready to go through a realignment. So all the communication that I send out around realignment and make sure that it addresses, the ADKAR model or the change management model, whatever, ProSci model, whatever model that your company uses for change management, tell it what to use. And then let it know, hey, I'm going to be sending out emails. I'm going to be having one-on-one conversations. There's going to be instant messaging reminders. We're going to be doing all hands. Whatever your communication model looks like, put it all in there. And now what happens is you have a thought partner to align those messages with each mode of communication. So that way, whenever you deliver that communication, guess what? Now it's creating clarity because that clarity is all in alignment throughout that communication. You may even have different layers of communication. So maybe you're at that executive level and you have to communicate down through your mid-level and your frontline managers. It's important for them to repeat back that message so we're not playing the telephone game, right? So use AI to help craft what that communication model looks like because at each one of those levels, it's going to be different. The executives need a different communication than, say, your frontline managers do, and down to the employees. So all 3 of those levels, tell AI what you want it to do, and then it will align those messages. That's the second use case. The third use case that I was journaling here is decision support, not decision making. So when we stay accountable as leaders, guess what? AI speeds up insight. And what I mean by this is, again, I use AI as a thought partner. So I kicked off a project a couple weeks ago, and I'm talking to AI. I have project management background, so we're in the planning phase. I'm letting them know, hey, what are the top 3 agenda items that I need to discuss at the kickoff meeting when it has to do with maybe a strategic priority of technology throughout the organization. And we need this priority to be at the very highest level for executive decision makers. Put it in front of them, allow them to choose either A or B, and then from that choice, then we'll put those into actionable projects that we're going to go out and create sub-teams to work. Guess what? It provided me an agenda for a kickoff meeting, very high level, got straight to the point as far as what the deliverables were, what the goals of the project was, what the milestones, and it discussed all three of those things in a very actionable way. It provided me that decision support. Now, could I have used everything in there? Yes. Did I tweak it a little bit for my style? Of course. AI, again, is that thought partner to help you support decisions, not to make decisions. And what it does is it speeds the insight. So it may have identified gaps, which in this use case, it did. In the kickoff meeting, there was a gap between the deliverable and really the goal of the project, because what I was trying to communicate as far as the goal, it was down in the weeds. We needed it up about 2 levels. So because it was the umbrella, this is just going to be the initial document for the executives to make a decision, and then that goes out into actionable organizations. Well, I didn't see that little point of confusion it could have caused. AI caught it, and it provided that insight for me to make this adjustment. So again, these 3 use cases, better coaching and feedback, allow it to build that coaching. If you got maybe a performance issue that's going on, how do you close that gap? So how do you deal with the performance? Don't just walk in and ask how the day was going. Ask it to frame that conversation where you're direct, you're to the point. I promise that the employee or whoever you're having the discussion with is going to walk away from that conversation with better clarity, better understanding of how they can close that gap. AI helps you do that, frame that conversation, clear communication at scale. So if you have to communicate, and this works the same, we talked about the use case of down from top to down, but what if you employee has to communicate up to the executive? Maybe you have an executive coming to your area, they're doing an all hands, and you want to bring up something that you feel very passionate about. AI would be a great tool to use as you're framing that message. And then decision support, not decision making. So allow it to be that thought partner with you as a leader, and then that way it speeds up that insight. So what mistakes do we make? Because I think all of us, again, that worry, that fear, back to what we were talking about earlier, we're worried about making mistakes with AI. And there are certain mistakes that I see leaders make. I see leaders make the number one mistake is using AI to avoid leadership. People talk to AI and they want it to help them be a better leader as far as what they say. But if you're using AI to craft an email that doesn't sound anything like you, and then especially if that email, those words are encouraging, talking about open door policies and feedback processes, and you really care about what they think, and your door is always closed, you never listen to any feedback, you overtalk those conversations, guess what? Those don't match. Your words and your behaviors don't match, and people are going to catch on. They're going to say, yeah, John's just using AI to send out, craft his emails, because he's not backing it up with the behaviors. So using AI to avoid leadership, number one mistake I see leaders make. Number 2, replacing conversations instead of preparing for them. So again, we talked about using AI as that thought leader when you go into those coaching and feedback sessions, those performance review discussions, or you just need maybe to ask for a raise. Again, prepare for that discussion by bullying it out those top 3 points. I don't ever go beyond 3 points. I always stick to the rule of 3. For me, it's a lot easier. Even in, an hour presentation, I still do 3 points. If I got a 5-minute conversation, I still do 3 points. The reason being is I can get through those 3 points. It's something that sticks. It has 2 bookends, a beginning, tell them what you're going to tell them, Then in the meat, tell them what you're going to get to them, the meat of the conversation, and then wrap it up by telling them what you told them. Those three things, if you can follow that format, I promise you that it's going to help you prepare for conversations, not replace conversations with AI. And then the last mistake that I see is optimizing efficiency at the expense of trust. So AI right now in the customer service world, in my world, in training, I've seen it even in my videography, making these podcasts. AI has leaps and bounds come from when I started 2 years ago to where they are today. There's new platforms coming out all the time. So people can get that scary for people, especially if you're working in one of those industries. Video editing. I mean, right now you can put the video, raw video, into a video editor and it'll take out all the dead spots. It'll put in, your B-roll. It will allow you to take clips, the highlight clips, and tell you where to put them. I mean, it is amazing what it can do, how to title the videos. So if I'm working as a video editor, what do you think that does? That probably puts a little bit of fear in that individual. So even though AI helps you become more efficient, don't do it at the expense of trust, because there are people with some raw talents that can see something and notice trends. I think one of my biggest strengths is pattern recognition. And with AI, it's learning us and it begins to identify patterns, but we already have that pattern recognition capability. So when I put something, I'm using AI as a thought partner, or I'm ingesting it to craft an email or communication, and then it comes back and it just doesn't sound like me, guess what? I'm not just going to copy and hit send. I'm going to trust my gut and I'm going to put my own spin on that message or that meeting agenda or whatever AI is helping me do as far as data analysis maybe. I'm going to look at it and I'm going to optimize trust, not efficiency in those examples. So we've talked about a lot, and I want to really kind of lead us into this last part, and it's how to protect our culture while continuing to use AI. Because again, all you hear across social media, all you hear across organizations, especially leaders that I work with, is that AI is taking over. It's going to take our jobs, or people are so afraid that it's going to take your job, they haven't even got into using AI. And what I want to tell you today is we have to be transparent. We have to be transparent with our teams that either one, we're using AI, two, we're thinking about using AI, or three, their job, their processes, we're going to put that into AI and see how we can not create more optimization, but figure out how we can become more efficient, not to replace them, but for them to do their job smarter, maybe to free up capacity in other areas for us to grow. Because as we go through this fast-paced world, change is coming at the speed of light. And so AI is a tool for us to use to get through a lot of those process-oriented, repetitive type tasks to free individuals up to think about what's coming ahead, about where we need to go, be innovative, right? Those are the things. We need to be transparent with our teams. Those are the communications that I have with my teams, especially in the training world. You can take and ingest a job tool, so all the tasks and duties of a particular job, and figure out what you need to do to onboard an employee into an organization. It used to be at a rate of about 40 hours to 1 hour of instructor-led in-person training. Now we have reduced that time to minutes, not hours, but minutes. So those are the things that we need to communicate going along with our teams. We're not looking to replace them. We're looking to create capacity in them so that they can be more innovative as far as the design of our courses. They can take that from AI and then they can put it into a web-based training, online training. They can do virtual training via like a Zoom session, or we can bring people into a room and do an in-person face-to-face training. That's where we can use, especially in the training world where we're using it, to be transparent with our stakeholders, not necessarily, and it helps us be more agile as a training team, where once a 40-hour course, that took almost 1,600 hours. Now we've reduced that down. So those are examples of where we can protect our culture, especially by being transparent with our teams. And the other piece here is people matter, reinforcing that people matter more than productivity. And this is something that a lot of organizations are struggling with right now, especially that are diving into AI. Most of my tech leaders are seeing this with programming, editing, the applications, building applications, coding. I mean, a lot of that we used to have, it would take a lot of time for somebody with high level of competency in those areas in order for them to do. And now I can code a web page based on another web page that I like and tell it, don't copy it, but tell it that I want the look and feel, and here's what language I want, here's my target audience, here's, who I'm trying to advertise to. I want it to be easy. I want, if I'm selling something, I want that path to be least resistant for they're clicking on a button. It takes them right to the page for them to purchase or enter in their own information. So again, people matter. Through all that productivity, we have to understand that there's people that have been doing these jobs that have the experience that can see something that we may not see as leaders. They can see it right off the bat. And that's what matters here, more than productivity. Of course, all of our businesses, we want to get more efficient. We want to get more productive. We want to make more money so that way we can pay our employees back that money, right? I get it. I'm not saying that productivity isn't the end goal. We just need to reinforce that people are a way to help us get there. And when we're helping each other and then using AI to speed up that insight, now we're able to change when the market changes. We're able to change if you have, a changing set of laws, structures, policies. You just plug and play now. So that's the way, both of those, be transparent with teams and reinforce people more than productivity. That's how we can protect our cultures as leaders. So one simple challenge to you: before you use AI with your team this week, this month, I would encourage you to start today. Ask yourself, is this helping me lead better or helping me lead less? I hope you all were able to take something away from the podcast today. And I'm going to be actually on this AI kick because I think it's important for us as we move forward as leaders that we understand how AI plays into making us better leaders and allowing us to be more agile and free up capacity, where now we can focus on the mission of the organization, to build our business, to figure out what's coming next, so that way we can be proactive and not reactive. So this video series that we're going to put together, I want you guys to tune in. Make sure that you're subscribed to the channel. If you've stuck around this long, I promise the content that we add in this channel, we're a small channel. It's all about bringing value to you and making sure that you, the listener, walk away with practical things that you can implement with your teams, with your organization, and within your business. I believe in you. Go be great. Talk to everyone on the next episode.